Hola clases! So we're coming up on our final week next week. The class is almost over. You guys have made it. So the thing you want to do for the final week, because there are a lot of things, is go here to content and then scroll down. You can see final week here. Okay, and it has the descriptions of everything you're meant to be doing, right? So there's a checklist for you that I recommend you look at, taking a look at exactly what it is that's part of that final week. The due dates, of course, are all in here and also in your schedule of work. So, of course, read, study, practice, prepare for the final orientation, submit assignments. There's a final project draft. You get bonus points for it, and also you get a lot of feedback from me, so that can be really helpful. Usually students that submit the final project draft get a higher grade than they would have otherwise. The cultural discussion, the due date is for the video submission, which is 24 hours before your sign up for the final oral, right? So you need to submit it 24 hours beforehand so that I can see it and also that your partner can see it and view it. And the final written project and the final exam, right? So there's an oral exam and an exam in D2L. So for final week, taking another look, you have your ripasso. The cultural discussion is in English, usually. Yeah, so, and this is usually pretty easy. It's due May 18th. It's one of the last things due. So you're in English using 5 sentences. And then final exam self-checks. Then you have your final exam, which is a 3-hour quiz in D2L. So it's a mix of short answer, multiple choice, listening, vocabulary, fill in the blanks. It's a little bit of everything, just like the prueba de repaso was, right? So it's 3 hours. You can do it in less. And then parts of it are things I have to grade, like the short answer. So you get an automatic grade when you complete it, but that's not going to be your final grade because it doesn't include the short answer portions that I have to grade, which I usually grade after the due date, okay, so that I can grade them all. You have your written project. You can do a draft, or you can just do the written project. I'll talk about what that is in a minute. The oral presentation and exam, which is in the virtual classroom. How do you record a Loom video and submit it, which is part of that oral presentation, and the final project video submission. Sorry, that's part of the video submission. So let's look at the written project, because the written project is going to be your video submission and your oral final, okay? So let's take a look at it here for final projects. So we have the project here. What you're going to do is you're going to choose one of the 3 topics that are given, and it's right here in the Proyecto Final Written Project Assignment description. So everything would be in there, okay? So here are just the details, right? That you're doing a written submission, then you're doing a video presentation, a pre-recorded presentation of your findings with images that you're going to submit, and then you're doing a live presentation, which means without notes, okay, because it's the oral final. And then there's a conversation about your topic, right? Small groups. So I'm doing groups of 2. You can sign up in the groups tab under course resources, groups, oral final. We'll have different dates and times, and you can sign up for the day or time that works best for you in groups of 2. So 2 people can sign up for a group. And so there's 6 groups. I've chosen evening times and morning times. If none of the times work for you, hopefully there's a couple of you for whom it doesn't work, then we can try to find something that works together. Okay, and if none of the times that are available work for you, maybe some that have already been filled do, and then I can just do a group of 3. Okay, the oral final times are 30 minutes for those groups, just to make sure that you guys have enough time, right, for everything. I don't think it'll take the whole 30 minutes, but I want to make sure that there's plenty of time. So what is the final written project? Because this is going to inform everything, right? So you have to do a 1-page, 250 words, double-spaced, 12-point font in Spanish with the heading, and you can read the Purdue Online Writing Lab, OWL, for citations, because you'll probably use some citations in this one because it's more of a research project versus in 101 and 102 when it was really about yourself, right? This one, you're going to want to use some present subjunctive. I am looking for that. Some normal subjunctive with conjunctions like cuando, tal vez, hasta que, tan pronto, como, para qué. So really using this as a guide because I am looking for those, right? That you've used them at least a little bit. And so here are the three temas that you can choose from. La gastronomía del mundo hispano, el ecoturismo, o el graffiti y el muralismo, right? And so it shows you here what each unit it was from, right? It gives you a video playlist to give you some ideas. It gives you links to different web pages. These are all things that you can cite, right? Using citations for MLA. This is a modern language class. And make sure you discuss these points. So really making sure you're answering these questions. So it gives you some questions to really look at, right? Tema 2, el ecoturismo. So with this one, you want to look at the traditions, culinary traditions of a country. So not just everywhere, but pick one of these Spanish-speaking countries. Brazil is not a Spanish-speaking country. And look at the culture. Same for ecoturismo in Ecuador y Costa Rica. So this one is really, so you want to look at the lectura cultural, there's some web pages, El Salvador, and then you really want to do some more research, and then you can describe the area you researched and make recommendations on places to visit, right? So again, really answering these questions here. In that. Graffiti and muralismo, same thing. Arte callejero. Again, Brazil is not to be included in this. I know Brazil has a lot of amazing graffiti and muralismo, especially in Sao Paulo, but you don't want to include that here. So research other places. I know there's tons of amazing graffiti and muralismo in Chile. In Cuba, there's a whole street that has amazing muralismo, el arte callejero, in Havana. I've been there. It's beautiful. Argentina has also some really great graffiti. So does Spain. So Colombia. So really getting a bit deeper and away from Brazil because, again, it's not a Spanish-speaking area. So it's not a focus in this class. So again, looking at the different resources and addressing the points. Right, so here's some frequently asked questions. Should you write in English and translate? No, please don't do that. You want to make sure that you have it in a simple Spanish, a Spanish that you've been using in the class, in your discussion posts, etc. So whatever that level is, if, use a dictionary, yes, but don't use a tutor or family or friends or an online translator because I can always tell when students do that not because the online translator is unsophisticated, because they're usually quite sophisticated nowadays. It's because it's not at the level of Spanish that I know you have been using in this class so far, right? So if your Spanish in the discussion post has been at a certain level and now suddenly in the final project it's at a much, much higher level, even for the class itself, much higher level, and you're not a heritage speaker, which I know some people in the class are, but you're not, then I'm going to assume you used an online translator. And that's just cheating and an automatic 0. There's no makeup. So just don't do it. You'll get a better grade if you just do it as you would yourself, okay? And you'll learn something that way, trust me. If you need help, I'm the resource. So do the rough draft. I give you really detailed instructions in the rough draft of what to fix, what's going on. So really, that's a really great way to use it. So it must be your own work. So these are the things for that. Then, of course, for the final presentation, right, the video submission, you're going to want to look at this. So for the video submission, you're going to make kind of like a PowerPoint of your, or video with video clips if you want, but mostly it's you talking, presenting about what you found, right? So it must be all in Spanish, presentation styled. You're not reading word for word. You should be describing. You should be knowing more or less what you want to say. It's about 2 to 3 minutes in length, so please don't make it longer than 3, okay? Because it's just hard to comprehend for your classmates. We're at 201. We're not at a super advanced level. This is intermediate. So keep it 2 to 3 minutes. It doesn't have to be super intense, super high level Spanish yet. It's just that right now we're getting you to talk more about things than just about yourself, getting more detailed vocabulary, subjunctive, things like that. So that's the thing. And then also for your video presentation, when you're doing, so to record it, there's Loom, but then there's also that's for the final project video, that you're going to submit at least 24 hours before your oral exam. And then for the oral presentation and exam, it's going to be similar, but ever so slightly different. So it's an oral dialogue with your instructor and 2 or 3 classmates. So because this class is small, it's just 1, but maybe you'll have 2 in there. So we're gonna have some grammar questions, which I think it's just gonna be intro questions just to get you guys warmed up. I'm not gonna throw anything fancy at you. It's more like introduce yourself. How are you? How are you doing? You know, all in Spanish, just to get you warmed up and relaxed. And then you're doing your presentation, right? So preparing for it, you're going to review your final project video. You're going to be prepared to ask and answer questions about the possible topics, right? So you have, oh, I guess here are the grammar questions, although, like I said, I'm not going to be using these because they just don't relate to the video presentation. And I think it should at least be similar. So I might ask you something about what you did. And you must watch your partner's presentation. So before your exam, you can go and look in your group and see who your partner is in your group, and you need to watch their presentation because you're going to ask them questions. You need to ask at least 2 questions of your classmate in Spanish, right? So there's just some sample questions depending on what their subject was. And then there's an open conversation, right? So you have to contribute to that as well. So what is it that you learned that surprised you? And I will be participating in this. It's not going to be just the 2 of you. Okay, and so then it's just the virtual classroom, and here it shows you how to share your webcam, your screen share, etc. So you'll be on video even when you're presenting. It can be a simplified version of the presentation you did, or it can be the same presentation, but again, no notes. So let me know if you have any questions. Again, go here to groups and go to oral final, go to the second one where you actually see groups with dates and times, okay? And sign up for one.